Hello, this is Bino. I'm an arborist and a certified tree worker. What I like to do on my channel is share tree climbing tips with beginners and experts. What we're going to talk about today is a sheet bend, a slippery sheet bend, and a quick hitch. And I wanted to talk about the difference between the slippery sheet bend and the quick hitch. All right, let's get to it. A sheet bend is good to use when you have a climber in the tree and you want to send an extra rope up to the climber. What's good about the sheet bend is that you don't have to go to the end of the line. You know, you could have the rope up in the tree, you could have a lot of his rope on the ground. You don't have to go to the end of the line to attach another rope. So it's a real simple hitch or bend to tie. All you do is you'll get a bend in your line, a bite in your line. You'll get the other rope that you plan on sending up to the climber. You'll feed it through the bite, you go around, and then you go straight across your bite. And once you do that, you have this cross, you pull these tight, you snug it up really tight. Now that should be ready to go, and it shouldn't come undone when you send it up to him. You could put it under a load, and after you put it under a pretty good load, you can break it open. So that's a sheet bend. Really good to send up to a climber. Now there's another one called a slippery sheet bend. Now the slippery sheet bend, it makes it a little bit easier for the climber once he gets the other rope to untie it. So maybe he has one hand, he could use one hand to untie it instead of with this where you might have to use two, or shake it a bit and then it would come undone. And you'll tie it in the same way. You'll make your bite. And once you do the bite, you'll send a rope through it, the one you're attaching. You go around, but instead of sending the tip through, you'll pull a bite of the tip, and now you'll snug it up. You'll hold it, grab both, and then once it's a little firm, now you drop to one, you snug it really tight, and that won't come undone. So you could put it under a load, and on the way up, it'll stay taut. Once the climber receives it in the air, you grab this tail and pull it, and it comes undone. So only downside about it is that it will hang up on the rope a little bit. So that is the slippery sheet bend. A lot of people don't know that there was a difference between a quick hitch and a slippery sheet bend. So the next one I'll show you is a quick hitch. Now, it looks a lot the same as a slippery sheet bend, but it is different. So with the quick hitch, you'll still do the same thing where you'll get a bite. So when I get the bite here, now instead of holding it in this way, I'll hold it in this fashion. And what I'll do is I'll get the tail end of the rope that I'm going to send and hold it. I'll put it over, and I'll kind of create another bite with the long end on this side of the bite. Once I do that with this finger here, I'll hold it. I'll bring my hand through the bite, around this long part of the other line, and I'll grab this. Once I do that, I'll pull it through. Once I have that, I'll snug it tight. You could drop to one line. You snug it tight. Now, when you send this up to the climber, he gets it up to the air, and when he receives it, he just grabs this tail and he pulls it, and it pops straight off. Quick hitch. It doesn't get all bound up and stuck just like the slippery sheet bend would do. So I've just shown you a couple different ways to tie the sheet bend, and then also the quick hitch. And I'm guessing you might be wondering why would I have so many options, or even think about the different ways to tie the two different sheet bends, and why not just a quick hitch if it's faster. So for me, if I'm going to use a sheet bend, you can also use a sheet bend by itself to put under a load. So if I was doing a removal job and I ran out of rope, I was running out of rope and I need to put another rope to that, I would use the regular sheet bend. Say I'm going to connect it to a tractor. If you don't put too much pressure, it's not going to slide or run on you. You could accomplish pulling over your load with a sheet bend and give you that extra length of rope that you need. Now, the slippery sheet bend is great to send up the tree, but it's a little bit more taxing on the climber. So if I were, if I had a climber up there and he was working on, say, doing a removal, and I'm going to send extra pulleys or maybe, something for rigging, and I was going to connect it to that rope to send up to him, well, then I would probably use a slippery sheet bend, because for me, it's a little bit more secure than a quick hitch. And with the quick hitch, I'm basically, for me, and it's my personal preference, I would use just a quick hitch, just to send up the rope to the climber, so he receives it and he's ready to go. If I'm putting extra weight on it, I would rather use a slippery sheet bend. Having said that, I'd like to show you guys again the different ways that I tie the sheet bend and the quick hitch. So for the basic regular sheet bend, you grab your bight of rope, and let me get the other. And then you get the rope that you're going to send up. And now you throw the rope you're sending up through the bight. You go around, and then you go straight across. And now you snug it up. I snug it up with both pieces of rope on each hand. Once I get it tight, now I'll drop to one rope. Now I snug it even tighter. So you see how that gets even closer? And now you do this, it's even snug. So now I know at that point this will hold when the climber takes it up. So there's also another way you can do a sheet bend. I tend to call it a inline bowline, or I don't know why I do it, but it's actually a sheet bend. You make a loop in your up line, and with your tail that you're going to send up, you throw it up just like you're tying a bowline, throw it around, bring it back through. And when you bring it back through, you pull this tight, just like you would a bowline, right? And it is actually the same thing, a sheet bend. Then send that straight up to the climber. Now, to do the slippery sheet bend, do it in the same way. Make your bight, throw your tail in through the bight, go around, but instead of just putting the tip in, now I'll grab a bite of that tail. I'll bring it to this, pull it snug, hold it tight. Once I got it tighter, I'll go to one rope on each hand. And there you have the slippery sheet bend. When he receives it, he pulls it, comes undone. Oops. Now, for a quick hitch, the way I like to tie it, I'll make a bight, hold it in this way, not holding it in this way. Then I'll get the other rope that I'm going to send. I'll throw the tail to the backside with my finger on this hand. I'll hold it in place. My other hand will go through the bight around the long part of that rope. I'll grab the tail and pull a bight through. Once I pull that bight through, hold it tight, snug it up, go to one rope in each hand, pull it tight. Now I have that quick hitch, and when the climber receives it up in the air, he grabs that tail, pops it off, and it's free. There you go. Slippery sheet bend, sheet bend, slippery sheet bend, and the quick hitch. There you have it. 3 different ways to send up a climbing line or a rigging line to a climber. Hope this was helpful in understanding there's other ways of sending a line to a climber. Anyhow, comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you like what we do, and by all means, share our video. Take care. We'll see you next time.